It's the second hour of the date. You've done everything right. You were witty but not intimidating. You were engaged, but you didn't interrupt his stories. You were the perfect blend of independent and interested. The cool girl. You laughed, you shared, you performed. And yet there's a hollowness, a sense of effort. You are acutely aware of yourself, of the role you are playing, and you can see in his eyes that he's appreciative, but he's not captivated. The connection is polite, but it hasn't landed. The night ends. He sends the obligatory text. Had a great time tonight. And then, the slow fade. The texts get shorter. The replies take longer. Until, finally, silence. You are left replaying the entire interaction, analyzing every word, every gesture. What did I do wrong? I did everything the magazines, the gurus, the articles said to do. I was funny, I was smart, I didn't seem needy. And then the creeping, terrible thought, was I too much? Was I too masculine? Was my success, my directness, my doing energy, a repellent? You feel a spike of anxiety, a familiar sting of confusion. You feel that in the complex algebra of modern attraction, you have once again failed to solve for X. But what if X isn't a behavior? What if X isn't something you do at all? What if the truth is far more complex and yet infinitely simpler? Today we are not talking about tips. We are not going to discuss the top 5 ways to be more feminine. Those are instructions for a performance. They are useless. They are the very reason you feel exhausted. Instead, we are here to conduct a deep psychological diagnosis. We are going to explore the concept of feminine energy, not as a costume you wear, but as a psychological state of being. We are going to uncover the unspoken signals that this state naturally, effortlessly, and automatically radiates. These signals are not tactics. They are byproducts. And they are, as a side effect of you simply becoming more yourself, profoundly, undeniably irresistible. This isn't about learning to act. This is about learning to be. Before we go further, we need to establish a shared language. Throughout this analysis, I will use the terms masculine energy and feminine energy. These terms carry cultural baggage, so let me be crystal clear about what they mean here. When I say masculine energy, I am not talking about men. I am talking about a psychological operating mode. Goal-oriented, linear, problem-solving, doing-focused, mission-driven. Think. The energy of a CEO in a boardroom, an architect drafting blueprints, a surgeon in an operating room. This energy says, I have a destination. Let me build the path to get there. When I say feminine energy, I am not talking about women. I am talking about a different psychological operating mode. Experience-oriented, cyclical, intuitive, being-focused, present-moment awareness. Think. The energy of a jazz musician improvising, a therapist deeply listening, an artist in creative flow. This energy says, I am fully here. Let me experience what is. Both energies exist in every human being, regardless of gender. A brilliant female surgeon operates in masculine energy during surgery. A male therapist accesses feminine energy when holding space for a client. You need both. The problem is not that you have one or the other. The problem is when you are stuck in one mode 24/7, unable to access the other. If these terms still feel uncomfortable, mentally replace them as you listen. Masculine energy, doing mode, mission state. Feminine energy, being mode, flow state. The principle remains the same. Now let's continue. The instinct, when faced with that deafening silence, is to search for a new strategy. You go online and the advice is immediate and contradictory. One guru tells you to play hard to get, to manufacture mystery, to use a precise formula for texting back. Wait 3 hours, but not more than 4. Another guru tells you to be vulnerable, to lean back, to let him lead. You are told to mirror his body language. You are told to activate your divine feminine by wearing flowing dresses and taking bubble baths. This is the common cure. And this is why it consistently fails. Because this is like trying to cure a fever by painting the thermometer a cooler color. It treats the symptom, not the cause. The symptom is that a high-value, secure woman isn't anxiously waiting by her phone. The cause is that her life is so full, her self-worth so stable, that his text message is not the central event of her day. The gurus tell you to mimic the symptom. Act busy, pretend not to care. But if you are internally a coiled spring of anxiety, all you are doing is becoming an inauthentic, anxious person pretending to be secure. And that conflict, that dissonance, is the one thing that can be felt by everyone. It is the very definition of repellent. You think, finally, someone understands me when you hear this, because you know this performance is failing. You are tired of acting. The problem isn't your texting cadence. The problem is that the entire paradigm is wrong. The common solutions are rooted in performance, in doing. They are asking you to add more layers of action to solve a problem that was caused by too much doing in the first place. The root of the issue lies in a fundamental misunderstanding of psychological polarity. In 2025, women are, rightfully and wonderfully, masters of their masculine energy, their doing mode. We run companies. We manage households. We solve complex logistical problems. We provide. We achieve. We spend 90% of our waking lives in the doing circuit, and it serves us. It has given us independence and power. Then we are expected to go on a date, sit down, and flawlessly switch circuits. We are told to just be in our feminine energy. It is not a switch. It is a fundamental shift in your entire operating system. The common advice fails because it doesn't honor this complexity. It asks you to suppress your strength, to hide your competence. It suggests your success is the problem. But your strength is not the problem. Your competence is not the problem. The problem is not your masculine energy. The problem is a lack of range. It is the inability to also access and embody the feminine circuit. The goal is not suppression. It is integration. This is the heart of our diagnosis. If the common cures are just performance, what is the actual psychological state we are diagnosing? What is feminine energy as a lived, embodied experience? And what are the unspoken signals it radiates? We will break this down into 3 core acts, 3 psychological case files that separate the performance from the reality. The most misunderstood concept in this entire sphere is receptivity. The common advice paints it as passivity. Let him pay. Let him open the door. Let him talk. This is a shallow behavioral interpretation. True psychological receptivity is not passivity. It is presence. Let's use a different metaphor. Think of polarity not as a static container and liquid, but as a dance. In a tango, there is a leader and a follower. But watch closely. The follower is not passive. The follower is exquisitely active, responding with precision, fluidity, and creativity to the leader's initiation. The follower's power is in their responsiveness, their ability to feel the subtle shift in pressure and move with it, add to it, transform it. And here's what most people miss. In the next moment, the roles can reverse. A great dance partnership is not about one person permanently leading. It's about 2 people who can fluidly shift between initiation and response. Psychological receptivity, what we're calling being mode, is not about being empty or waiting to be filled. It is about being responsive. It is the ability to feel the energy in the room and move with it, rather than against it or despite it. When you are on a date, receptivity means you are not in your head planning your next clever comment while he's still talking. You are feeling the rhythm of the conversation. You are noticing the warmth in his eyes when he talks about his niece. You are responding from that felt sense, not from a script. This is presence. This is attunement. And to someone operating in doing mode, constantly strategizing, problem-solving, performing, your being mode is a permission slip. It gives them space to drop their performance and simply exist with you. Psychologically, this receptivity is a state of profound embodied presence. This is the first and most powerful unspoken signal. When you are on a date, where is your mind? Are you in your head, the doing state, analyzing his career potential, planning your next witty remark, judging his shirt, and cataloging his flaws? Or are you in your body, the being state, fully experiencing the moment? Are you actually tasting the wine? Are you feeling the texture of the seat? Are you hearing the sound of his voice, not just the words? A person in their masculine energy, man or woman, subconsciously feels the difference. They can feel, on a primal level, whether they are being analyzed or experienced. When they are being analyzed, they are being judged. They feel they must perform, that they must prove themselves to you. This creates a subtle wall, a competition. But when they feel they are being experienced, they feel safe. This is the unspoken signal. Emotional safety. Your presence, your being state, wordlessly communicates, you are safe to be yourself here. You do not have to perform for me. You are not being graded. This is the rarest and most magnetic quality in our hyper-distracted, judgmental, performance-based world. It is the exact opposite of the cool girl performance. It is the signal of pure authenticity. It allows the other person to relax out of their own doing state and simply be. This creates connection. This creates intimacy. However, we must immediately apply a critical safety warning, a guideline that must be absolute. Receptivity is not a blank check for disrespect. This is where so many get it wrong, and it leads to dangerous territory. So let's be crystal clear. There are red flags that indicate you are dealing with someone manipulative, not someone who values genuine receptivity. He interprets your receptivity as permission to disrespect your boundaries. He wants you to be receptive to his needs but offers no generosity or presence in return. He criticizes your ambition or independence, seeing it as a threat, and he uses the emotional vulnerabilities you share with him against you in later discussions. If receptivity with him feels like erasing yourself, that is not feminine energy. That is manipulation. Receptivity with a healthy, masculine energy partner feels like opening. With a manipulative one, it feels like caving. Knowing the difference is the first act of self-preservation. The second unspoken signal is often described with words like radiance, flow, or play. What is this psychologically? This is the state of being connected to your own intrinsic source of joy. Think about the feeling you have when you are completely absorbed in an activity you love. It could be dancing. It could be painting, writing, coding, hiking, or laughing uncontrollably with your oldest friend. In that moment, you are not trying to be attractive. You are not thinking about anyone. You are not trying to get a result. You are simply in the joy of the activity itself. This is the flow state. This is pure, embodied being energy. This state radiates an unspoken signal of profound power, non-neediness. When a woman is connected to her own sources of joy, her purpose, her passions, her community, her hobbies, she has her own energetic supply. She is, to use the metaphor, an overflowing cup. She is not coming to a relationship as an empty cup, demanding that a man be her source of joy, validation, and entertainment. This is the single greatest mistake of modern dating. The belief that the other person is responsible for your happiness. The woman who operates from this flow state doesn't need a man's attention to feel whole. She wants to share her wholeness with him. This is the most profound psychological shift you can make. It is the essence of the high-value mindset. Now here's where most advice goes wrong. It will tell you, be joyful so he'll be attracted to you. Be non-needy so he'll chase you. This is still transactional. This is still using your state as a tool to get a result from him. Let me reframe this entirely. You are not cultivating joy to attract him. You are cultivating joy to create a filter. When you are genuinely connected to your own sources of joy, your purpose, your passions, your community, you are no longer desperate for connection. You are no longer willing to tolerate poor treatment just to avoid being alone. You become selectively available. And here's what happens. Some men will be drawn to this. Others will be intimidated. Others will be indifferent. Your job is not to predict or control which category he falls into. Your job is to notice which category he falls into and respond accordingly. Does he celebrate your joy, or does he try to diminish it? Does he add to your energy, or does he drain it? Does he feel safe and inspired around your wholeness, or does he feel threatened by it? These are not questions you answer by analyzing his texts. These are questions your body answers when you are present enough to feel it. The man who responds to your authenticity with pursuit, curiosity, and respect, that's information. The man who responds to your authenticity with withdrawal, criticism, or games, that's also information. Both are successful outcomes. One moves toward partnership. One moves him out of your life. Both save you time. You are not cultivating this energy to be irresistible to all men. You are cultivating it to become irresistible to yourself, and therefore naturally repellent to anyone who can't appreciate that. The magnetic pull of this is undeniable. A person does not fall in love with you necessarily. They fall in love with how they feel around you. And around a person who is already in their joy, who is radiant with their own life force, they feel alive. They feel permission to access their own play state, a state that the mission-focused doing world often denies them. The unspoken signal is not, look at me, I'm so happy, come make me happier. The unspoken signal is, my joy is my own sacred responsibility. You are welcome to come and share in it. This is what creates genuine connection. Not games, not tactics, but the deep, primal desire to be near someone who is a source of life, not a drain on it. But here is the critical distinction, the truth that the self-help industry will never tell you. These changes, this work to connect with your own joy, will not make every man pursue you. And that is the entire point. That is perfect. Because the man who is intimidated by your joy, the man who finds your self-sufficiency a threat, the man who does not respond to your genuine authenticity, your emotional growth, that man is doing you a profound favor by quietly removing himself from your life. You do not want to be irresistible to everyone. You want to be a beacon for the right ones, and a repellent for the wrong ones. This work is not a net to catch a man, it is a filter. The masculine operating system is logical. It resides in the head. The feminine operating system is somatic. It resides in the body. We call this intuition, a gut feeling, a vibe. For centuries, this was dismissed as mystical or flighty. Today, psychology understands it as somatic intelligence, the mind-body connection. Your body is a highly advanced data processor, absorbing millions of microsignals per second that your conscious brain completely misses. It processes his tone, his microexpressions, the way he holds his shoulders, and it gives you a feeling of safety, or a feeling of wrongness. The third unspoken signal is your trust in this somatic intelligence. This is where it connects directly to attachment theory. An anxious attachment style is characterized by being out of the body. You are hyper-focused externally on the other person's signals, desperately trying to read and interpret them. He crossed his arms. Is he mad at me? His text was one word. Is he pulling away? This is a hyper-vigilant, doing state. An avoidant attachment style is also out of the body, but through dissociation. They numb the feeling. The secure attachment style is in the body. They can feel their own emotions, identify them, and, crucially, self-soothe. They trust their internal state more than they trust the external validation. So, what is the unspoken signal that this in-body state sends? The signal is boundaries. A woman who is connected to her feminine energy is connected to her body. She feels, viscerally, when something is off. A comment lands wrong. A touch feels unwelcome. A request feels like an overstep. And because she trusts that gut feeling, she can set a boundary. Not aggressively, which is a reactive masculine energy. Not passively by swallowing it and building resentment, but firmly, clearly, from a place of self-honor. Sometimes the boundary is verbal. I'm not comfortable with that. Other times, it's energetic. She simply moves away. She does not abandon herself to keep the peace. This is perhaps the most counterintuitive and irresistible signal of all. The unspoken signal is, I will not abandon myself for you. This radiates a profound, unshakable self-respect. And a person with healthy masculine energy is not threatened by this. They recognize it as strength. They subconsciously know that a woman who respects herself is capable of respecting them. They know she is not a people pleaser. They know her yes is a real, enthusiastic yes, and her no is a firm, unwavering no. This creates the single most important ingredient for any long-term relationship: trust. There is nothing more magnetic than trust. This is the soft power that gurus try to imitate. It is not an action. It is the result of an internal foundation, and this foundation is non-negotiable. Before you can even think about polarity or energy, the bedrock must be in place. The hierarchy of mental and emotional health is absolute. There must be physical and emotional safety, there must be fundamental mutual respect, and there must be a compatibility of core values. If these things are not present, no amount of feminine energy will fix it. You cannot be receptive enough for a man who is emotionally unavailable. You cannot radiate enough joy to cure his narcissism. You cannot set enough boundaries to make an incompatible man compatible. That is not your job. Your job is to build your own foundation, so you can identify and walk away from anyone who doesn't meet it. Before we conclude, a critical note on context. This framework is a lens, not a law. How these dynamics express themselves will vary radically depending on your culture. A Brazilian woman navigating dating in São Paulo will have completely different cultural scripts around receptivity than a Scandinavian woman in Stockholm. Know your context. Adapt accordingly. Your age and life stage. A 25-year-old woman who has never been married will approach this differently than a 45-year-old woman emerging from a 20-year relationship. Your needs, your boundaries, your capacity for vulnerability, all of this shifts with life experience. Your relationship history. If you are healing from trauma, narcissistic abuse, or betrayal, your version of receptivity will and should look different. Healing is not linear. Some days your boundary is a wall, and that's exactly what you need. Your relationship structure. If you are in a queer relationship, these dynamics of polarity still exist, but they are not mapped onto gender. You and your partner may fluidly shift between doing and being energy multiple times in a single conversation. And that's not a bug, it's a feature. Use this framework as a starting point, not a destination. Take what resonates, leave what doesn't. Adapt it to your life, your values, your context. There is no one-size-fits-all formula for attraction. There is only know yourself, honor yourself, and notice who can meet you there. So, we have conducted the diagnosis. We have found that the unspoken signals are not tactics. They are not performances. They are byproducts of a deep internal psychological state. The signal is presence, the safety you create by experiencing rather than analyzing. The signal is non-neediness, the radiance of a life filled with your own joy. The signal is self-respect, the trust created by embodied boundaries. And this leads us to the virata de chave, the aha moment. This is the part where we find the cure. So how do you send these signals? What is the secret technique? The answer is the ultimate paradox. The counterintuitive insight is, you don't. You stop. You stop trying to send any signals. You stop trying to be irresistible. You stop trying to be feminine. The very act of trying is the doing energy that blocks the entire state you wish to access. Trying is a performance. Trying is a mission. And trying is rooted fundamentally in the belief that you, as you are right now, are not enough. The cure is not an action. It is a paradigm shift. It is a reallocation of your focus. You must shift your entire focus from him, the external, to you, the internal. You must stop asking, what does he think of me? What does he want? You must instead build a life around asking, how do I feel? What do I want? What brings me joy? What is my body telling me right now? What is my boundary? This is the high-value mindset. My work is not to attract. My work is to become the most authentic, joyful, embodied, and self-respecting version of myself. Attraction is simply the inevitable, natural reflection of that internal work. And we must be honest. This framework is not a magic wand. It does not fix fundamental incompatibility. It will not work on partners with untreated mental health issues or personality disorders. It cannot fix bad timing. He just got out of a relationship. He is focused on his career. And sometimes, nothing is wrong at all. You are just not a chemical match. You just don't have chemistry. And that is perfectly, wonderfully valid. The work is not to get him. The work is to get you. So what is the next step? It is not to go onto a dating app and practice being receptive. It is not to text him using some calculated formula. The work is internal, but internal work can feel abstract. So let me give you something tangible. For the next 7 days, commit to this. Write down 3 activities that put you in genuine flow, where you lose track of time, where you are fully present, where you feel alive. It could be dancing in your living room, sketching in a coffee shop, hiking alone, deep conversations with your best friend, cooking an elaborate meal. Now, schedule one of them this week, non-negotiable. Put it in your calendar. Protect it like you would a doctor's appointment. This is not to seem interesting to a man. This is to reconnect with your own aliveness. For the next week, when someone gives you a compliment or offers you help, practice this exact response. Thank you. That's it. No deflecting. Oh, this old thing? No reciprocating immediately. Oh, you too. No justifying. I got it on sale. Just, thank you. And let it land. Notice how uncomfortable this feels. Notice the urge to bat it away. Sit with it. This is the muscle of receptivity. You are learning to let good things in. 3 times a day, morning, afternoon, evening, stop whatever you are doing. Place your hand on your chest, close your eyes, and ask, how does my body feel right now? Don't name the emotion yet. Just notice the sensations. Tight chest, relaxed shoulders, clenched jaw, butterflies in stomach. After you identify the sensation, then you can ask, what is this feeling trying to tell me? This is how you rebuild the connection between your mind and your body. This is how you access intuition. This is how you hear your boundaries before you cross them. This is not preparation for your next date. This is reconnection with yourself. If a date happens during this week, great. But you'll notice something. You'll be less focused on, am I doing this right? And more tuned into, how do I actually feel right now? And that shift, that is everything. In the end, the long, exhausting search for the unspoken signals that men find irresistible leads us directly back to the only place it ever could, ourselves. The woman who is performing, the one who is leaning back while vibrating with anxiety, the one who is playing hard to get while desperate for connection, she is exhausting herself. She is, in fact, broadcasting signals, but they are signals of insecurity, inauthenticity, and performance. She is wordlessly asking every man she meets, "Am I doing this right? Do you approve of me? Am I enough?" But the woman who has done the work, who has shifted her paradigm, the one who is cultivating her feminine energy, not as a tool, but as a home, she is not broadcasting at all. She is a lighthouse. She is not chasing the ships. She is not worried about the ships. She is not even thinking about the ships. She is anchored to her own rock, solid in her own foundation, and shining. Her light is the byproduct of her own power. The ships can choose to navigate by her light, or they can pass in the night. It does not matter, because her light is not for them. It is for her. It is the signal of her own authenticity. You have agency over your energy, your healing, your growth. You do not have agency over his wounds, his timing, his availability, or his fundamental compatibility with you. Do the internal work because you deserve to live with more lightness, more joy, and more authenticity. If that attracts the right partner, wonderful. If it does not attract anyone for a while, you still won. Because you won yourself, and that is the only person you are guaranteed to spend the rest of your life with. You do not control his actions, but you, and only you, control your frame. And that is the true power.